we can see it's raining.
You just scroll up and see all.
Yeah, there's one that takes you up to 153.
Well, that family.
Do you look at all of it?
They got to go to the whole thing.
Which is Shallowford Road.
You got soups, salads, fajitas, burritos. Tacos. There's two of them up here?
I don't know, but this one, no, it's like there's two routes.
Oh,
There's one route that takes you up Shallowford Road. You go straight to it.
without getting on the other side.
Apparently, you might go over an interstate. You might go.
Don't we have some pictures in your picture books of this train?
Probably. Let me see if I can find them.
I think he means the one at home, your actual.
Yes.
Oh, not on my phone.
Not on your phone.
Oh, at home.
In December 2009.
Probably. Yeah, I know we did.
Yeah. I think I might grab that. And look at those.
Okay.
You can always take a picture with your phone.
What year was it, Sydney?
2009.
Well, once we go, it's only a 12-minute car ride to get there. Oh, I've never been on the train in the rain before. It's kind of neat.
Yep.
It's not pulling up any of my pictures from 2009. That's crazy.
Way back there, they put the horn.
Here we go.
Test, 1, 2. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all aboard and welcome aboard the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum's Missionary Ridge Local. Train number 100, round trip service to East Chattanooga and return. My name is Justin, I'll be your tour guide for this journey back in time. Your conductor today is Travis, your engineer is Joseph, and you're riding behind TVR in train number 100. Now, this trip in particular is a 55-minute experience, not a 55-minute ride. It includes 15 to 20 minutes. It includes 15 to 20 minutes of travel in each direction over the 3 miles of track donated to us by the Southern Railway. It also includes a 20 to 25-minute layover in East Chattanooga. We'll have a brief demonstration of our turntable, as well as a behind-the-scenes look at our back shop. Now, before we can make our way west to our East Chattanooga depot, we do have to turn our train around. And to do so today, we're going to be using our Y, the WYE. And the Y is a triangular shaped junction in the track with switches in all 3 corners, surrounding our Grand Junction station. Our locomotive and train will essentially be doing a 3-point turn. We'll first proceed up the base leg of our Y. And once we clear the switch at the top of the base leg, we'll be reversing around the east leg. But more on that movement in just a few moments.
We broke down.
We are now reversing around the east leg of our Y. Your conductor Travis is currently on the rear of our train, projecting the shove for the engineer. He is essentially Joseph's eyes for the moment. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as we reverse around the east leg of our Y, everyone make sure you wave farewell to our beautiful Grand Junction station, as you may not see it for a day or two, a week at the most. And ladies and gentlemen, never fear, we've never been gone longer than 2. It will be my very own personal goal that we have you back by at least Christmas of next year.
Oh, yay.
Now, of course, we are only joking. We'll be back in approximately 55 minutes. But once again, everyone make sure you wave farewell to that beautiful Grand Junction station. Also, as we reverse around the east leg of our Y, everyone make sure you take a look to the right side of our train. Now, to the right side of our train, you will see a rocky embankment. Now, that rocky embankment is lined with limestone, although many people do take it for granted. That really is one of the bolder sides along our route. I'm not sure about you guys, but I think that those puns were marvelous. And that will be the end of the rock puns for the day. I'm sure some of you are thanking me. We've now reached the top portion of our east leg, known as the tail track. Now, once our locomotive is clear of the switch at the top of the tail track, and we receive our green signal, we can proceed west, down the west leg of our Y, which will be the first leg of our westbound journey.
We broke it again.
We won't be back till Christmas next year. We are now making our way down the west leg of our Y, which means that, ladies and gentlemen, you're now traveling on one of the first railroads in Chattanooga, being completed in 1858 by the East Tennessee and Georgia Railway Company. And the East Tennessee and Georgia would merge with a number of other railroads over time to eventually become the famous Southern Railway in 1894. Now, the Southern Railway would continue to use this very line up until the mid-1950s. But they would abandon it for reasons I'll explain later in our journey. A new line would be constructed just to the north, which you can to the right of our up on the embankment behind Grand Junction. And that new line to the right of our train is still operated on today by the Southern Railway successor, the Norfolk Southern Corporation, and it will see as many as 30 trains per day. Now, of course, after the Southern Railway would abandon this line, they would donate the 3 miles of track to us here at the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum, which we have been operating on ever since. Now, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, you're not traveling on the original right-of-way of the East Tennessee and Georgia Railway. The original right-of-way would lie just to the left of our train now, today marked by a gravel road. Now, the line was elevated to its current height and position in the early decades of the 20th century, due to numerous occasions of flooding.
As an example of that flooding, in just a few moments, to the left of our train, you will spot a sign. And to the right of that sign will be a tree with a yellow line painted on it. That yellow line represents the high water mark of the Great Flood of 1867. At 9 feet above the track, it explains why the line would have to be elevated. Now, the Great Flood of 1867 would be one of many examples of flooding in the downtown Chattanooga area. And that flooding would not be resolved until the construction of the Chickamauga Dam during the Great Depression. We're now crossing over our first bridge over South Chickamauga Creek. Now, in the waters below, you may spot some turtles, river otters, or geese. To the left of our train, you'll probably spot a set of stone piers. Those stone piers mark the site of the original bridge. Now, other than a wooden decking that the rails would have run on, that bridge was constructed entirely of stone and was unfortunately washed away in a flood of 1861. Now, at the time of that washout, there was unfortunately a train coming. The engineer of the train did not see that the bridge had washed away in time, and, well, let's just say, the engineer whose train that day would go for a little bit of a swim, an unpleasant one at that. Over our second bridge over the Western and Atlantic Railroad. And that line you saw below us there was the first railroad in Chattanooga, being completed in 1850 by the state of Georgia. Now, ladies and gentlemen, just a little bit of history on the cars you're riding in today. Now, believe it or not, today you're experiencing an anomaly here at the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum, as all three cars of our train today were built in the same year by the same company. If you're riding in the rear car of our train, you're riding in Central Georgia Railway number 390. If you're riding in the center car of our train, you're riding in Central Georgia number 907. And in the front car of our train is Central Georgia number 661. Now, all of these cars were built in 1947 by the American Car Foundry for the Central of Georgia Railway. They would have been built for use on a train called the Nancy Hanks too, and running in between Atlanta and Savannah. Now, the Nancy Hanks 2 would be named after a Triple Crown winning racehorse, Nancy Hanks, who would in turn be named after the 16th president's mother, Nancy Hanks Lincoln. Now, the cars are today in the exact same order that they would have been on the Nancy Hanks 2. So today, you're riding on what I like to call the Little Nancy. The only thing on our train today that is not Central Georgia would be your locomotive, which was built for the Nashville, Chattanooga, and St. Louis Railway. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, you are today riding on the Little Nancy.
This would be pretty up here when the leaves turn, won't it?
Now, ladies and gentlemen, here at the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum, we're very proud of our museum's history. A little bit more of our notable history is that we have been involved in the making of a few television series, movies, and music videos. For example, we've been involved in the making of films such as October Skies, Fool's Parade, Leatherheads, Water for Elephants, and most recently, 42 with Chadwick Boseman and Harrison Ford. 42 would have been filmed just on the platform of our Grand Junction station. We've also been involved on the television screen. We've been used in the making of Johnny Cash's television series, Riding the Rails, as well as Larry the Cable Guy's Made in America. As we were discussing our film history, you probably noticed that we did cross over our third bridge over Tunnel Boulevard. And that Tunnel Boulevard bridge is the only place on our railroad that we can legally run over cars. We are now making our climb up Missionary Ridge, but rather than travel over it, we're going to travel